So we need to talk about the Dutch elections and what it means for Europe. So press all the buttons, leave a reply if you can, and if you really can, leave a donation and subscribe. So most of the international coverage has centered on the fact that D66, led by its young leader Rob Jetten, has done very well in this election, getting first place. And they have also talked about the fact that Geert Wilders, the Dutch Donald Trump's party, has done quite poorly. But this really undersells the reality of the situation. That isn't to say that D66 didn't do very, very well, but the collapse of the Dutch far right is not something that happened. Because while Wilders lost those votes, they went over to two far right parties that have formed in the meantime. See, we have a party called the Forum for Democracy. It is run by a very famous conspiracy theorist named Thierry Baudet. The other far right party that absorbed a bunch of Wilders' vote was an offshoot of that first party. See, as the far right does, they got into a fight with each other, and two people broke off to form their new party, JA21, or Right Answer 2021. JA21 picked up 8 additional seats, giving them 9 in the parliament, and Forum for Democracy put them at 7. This means in this parliament there is a much stronger right-wing bloc, regardless how well D66 did. This creates a big problem, obviously, for coalition formation, because with a much more conservative parliament, that means the selections for our nice young progressive centrist Liberal Party are very slim. And a lot of them, we came out to realize, have very different views on quite fundamental parts of Dutch politics, like for example, healthcare policy. With every single party that participated in the last government losing seats, and more importantly, some of them being wiped out completely, it's important to understand that the weakness of all of the main big parties is going to be reflected in the instability of governments going forward. And I think it's safe to say we could be looking at another Dutch election in a year or two, or maybe even less. And with turnout just under around 80%, it's easy to see that the vote is very much shifting between the parties, as opposed to having more non-voters join the voter population, which was the reality of the last election and what really pushed Wilders to victory. But this is also the solution for all of the parties that lost seats in this election. There are 20% of the voting population that are not voting. Those are the people you can pick up. You can emulate what Wilders was able to do by activating them into voters, not in the same way through hate, but through other mechanisms to inspire them to vote for you. You just gotta go where the people are and continue a very heavy communications game between now and the next election. And with the resignation of Frans Timmermans, the Groene Links PvdA leader, perhaps a new, younger leadership who is not such a set figure in the minds of the Dutch population will be allowed to create a new reputation. But for Dutch voters, right now is the time to get involved in politics. Join a political party, join a trade union. Get better by your choices and your participation, or else it won't go anywhere.